A man entombed himself in a cave to achieve ultimate power, but the second he saw daylight again, his very first impulse was to hunt down and eliminate the master who taught him everything. Because what was supposed to be a sacred quest to save the world was nothing more than a twisted plot, using children as fodder, against the dreaded Hellgate, a force that made entire empires tremble. An ancient legend had been whispered, through the martial world, of a secret grotto on Mount Hyen. Inside, it was said, lay not only the techniques of the greatest master, the legendary Gungwolja, but also a secret weapon he left behind. Lured by this promise, factions from every corner of the land swarmed to Mount Hyen, and a new, explosive conflict began to simmer just beneath the surface. Just then, with a thunderous roar and a flash of sword energy, a towering mountain peak was cleaved clean in two. As the colossal cloud of dust began to settle, a cave mouth was revealed at the mountain's base, and a lone figure slowly strode out from the crushing darkness. The man, clutching a naked blade, let out a low growl. Finally, I'm out. So the sky really is blue. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't recall a single memory of ever entering that cave. Was this amnesia from the shock of his escape? Regardless, an inferno of hatred blazed in his heart, and he swore he would claw back every last one of those stolen memories. His earliest recollection began when he was 10. I am Gungwolja, a voice had said. You may not understand now, but in 10 years, you will save the world. That day, Gungwolja had gathered 100 children, and Seonun was one of them. Even now, he could still see. Those eyes, so cold they chilled him to the bone. All you need to do is obey my commands. And for any fools who even considered running, the cave entrance was sealed shut with massive boulders. It would be a catastrophe if someone were to break in, wouldn't it? And just like that, the training to save the world began. From how they ate to how they walked, every single movement was dictated by Gungwolja. The first technique they learned was the 3 talents Qigong, a method that could absorb the energy of heaven, earth, and man all at once. Next came the 3 talents sword style, and finally, the 3 talents footwork. 3 years later, Gungwolja summoned them again. The martial arts I have passed down to you are enough to touch the realm of a war god. For the remaining 7 years, you will hone them to absolute perfection. Now, push that door open and go inside. To fight the coming calamity, you must keep training, keep growing stronger within. And so, they obeyed, stepping through the doorway. At first, the strange mist that filled the cave terrified them, but they soon realized it was nothing less than pure, condensed, solitary chi. Thanks to this, their menta power skyrocketed. However, as their own energy grew too intense, the Hellgate was torn open. From that moment, they began a brutal, years-long struggle for survival. And even though the techniques Gungwolja taught them were light years ahead of anything they knew, in the end, only one made it out of that cave alive. That person was Seonun. Later, Seonun found his way to a tavern. His presence instantly drew the gaze of a young woman, the daughter of the Xiao family estate's master, Xiao Shuirong. Brother, look at that man. He's carrying a sword, but it has no scabbard. Her brother, Zhao Ren, found it strange too, though the blade itself looked absolutely extraordinary. Before long, a steaming bowl of noodles was placed in front of Seonun. He was lost in thought. How long had it been since he'd eaten a proper meal like this? The warmth was intoxicating, so comforting it felt like he was about to melt. Across the room, Zhao Shuirong continued to watch him intently. Why was she so fixated on this guy? Just as he finished his meal, the server walked over. Sir, that'll be 5 coins. Hearing this, Seonun froze. He'd completely forgotten that things in this world cost money. The server kept his tone polite. Sir, surely you're joking. If you eat, you have to pay. But when Seonun replied, with a dead serious face that he had none, the server's patience finally snapped. Then leave the sword at your hip to cover the debt. Seonun refused, without a second's hesitation. This sword was paid for with the lives of countless comrades. The server exploded. So you were planning to dine and dash from the start, weren't you? Just then, a slender, jade-like hand reached out, holding a coin purse. It was Zhao Shuirong. I'll pay for him. After everything was settled, Seonun slowly walked over to her. He looked like he wanted to say something, but couldn't find any words that fit the moment. In the end, he just silently turned and walked out of the tavern. Staring at Seonun's departing back, Zhao Shuirong finally understood what had felt so strange. His eyes, they were like a child's, seeing the world for the very first time. Zhao Ren, however, just scoffed, saying, the guy couldn't even manage a simple thank you, and was probably just a deadbeat drifter, or legit broke. Besides, he added, that guy doesn't seem to have a single drop of internal energy. And yet, that sword was clearly no ordinary weapon. just a normal weapon. The thought barely registers before Xiao Lam's entire demeanor shifts. Wait a minute, that's a legendary blade. Carrying a sword like that without a sheath is just asking for trouble. I have to trail him and make sure he stays safe. I can't just leave him like this. He definitely needs a scabbard. But as she moves to follow, her brother immediately cuts her off. He warns her that she doesn't even know the man, and with his rough attitude, her kindness would likely be completely wasted. Zhao Xiao Lam tries to argue, but the head of the Xiao family's escort guild speaks up first, siding with Zhao Ren. Splitting from the main group right now would be incredibly dangerous, especially with the alliance leader on his way. With even the escort leader against the idea, Zhao Xiao Lam has no choice but to stay put. As dusk settles, the tavern begins to overflow with people. The influence of the Murim alliance is no joke. The escort leader figures it's because the Sa Do Rian and the Green Forest factions have also descended upon Hyen Mountain. But he knows the real reason for this massive gathering. It's all because of the reputation of one man, the greatest genius in the history of the martial world, Gung Ilga. He was renowned for his unparalleled talent and his mastery of intricate mechanisms and formations. In his later years, he forged a technique called the Flickering Shadow Blade, sending shockwaves through the entire Murim. Then, he used a completely unique method, blending his mechanisms and formations to pass down his martial arts. He took a wandering swordsman under his wing and transformed him into an unrivaled master in just 3 years. Even though that warrior was later branded an enemy of the Murim and met a tragic end, the incident only amplified Gung Ilga's legendary status. Countless sects sent people to find him after that, but he had vanished without a trace. And now, the Xiao family had obtained a treasure map that supposedly leads to Gung Ilga's lost techniques. It was only natural that the entire martial world had its eyes fixed on them. Musing on this, the escort leader reminds them once more. He reassures them that he was personally tasked by the Xiao family head to accompany them, so no major trouble should break out. Still, we must remain vigilant because the world is full of unpredictable turns. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo is still stuck on that one question. She did help me out, he realized. I should at least go back and thank her properly. Just then, a fragment of a memory slams into him. Hyunwoo, we're getting out of here. And when we do, we're going to do everything we never got the chance to. And promise me one more thing. If I don't make it out, you go home for me. You tell my father what happened. No, I won't do it. When we both get out, you'll tell him yourself. But reality is rarely so kind. One day, during a savage battle against monsters, a gaping, bloody maw lunged at Hyunwoo from behind. In that split second, Eokji threw himself forward, taking the fatal blow meant for him. Watching the life drain from Eokji's eyes, Hyunwoo let out a desperate, crazed roar. Why? Why would you take that hit for me? Get up. You said you were going to see your father again. You were always the strongest of us all. You have to survive. And tell my father. Tell him his son failed him. Remembering that moment, Hyunwoo's resolve hardens into steel. He will make Jonira pay for this debt in blood. After wandering aimlessly for a while, Hyunwoo finds himself back at the tavern without even realizing it. The girl is still there. Come to think of it, he never even said thank you. But before he can step inside, a group of warriors suddenly storms out of the main gate. Hold formation. Tonight, we carry out the mission given to us by the alliance leader. Hyunwoo glances toward the commotion and spots Jo Seol Ran among them. He decides to see where they're headed, keeping a safe distance. He shadows them until they halt at a mountain entrance. Are they heading to the very place he just escaped from? And what's with that other group tailing them? What on earth are they all planning? At the same time, the Murim alliance leader, Jae-guk Yoon, is in a secret meeting with his strategist. The Green Forest faction has made a sudden move. Could their target be the same as ours? The strategist calmly signals for him to relax, assuring him there's nothing to worry about. According to their scouts, those forces are moving in the complete opposite direction. Jae-guk Yoon lets out a slow breath. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. After walking a bit further, a man suddenly blocks their path. It's Pyong Chun-young, the vice leader of the Murim Alliance's Flying Dragon unit. Lady Jo, you look exhausted. Shall I inform the alliance leader and suggest we make camp here for the night? Before Jo Seol Ran can even respond, Jo Hin cuts in. There's no need for your concern, Vice Leader Pyong. We are perfectly fine. Without warning, shadowy figures erupt from the dense thicket. We finally found you. Reacting instantly, Jae-guk Yoon commands everyone into a battle stance. These Black Mountain bandits are not to be underestimated. The strategist adds in a low, urgent tone. It seems the Sado Ryon's forces have also joined the fray. The two factions were on a collision course. Carving a bloody path through a sea of grunts, Hilar Suriguan levels his blade directly at Jae Ko-eun. As steel screams against steel, Jae Ko-eun's eyes sweep across the battlefield. Damn it. At this rate, we're getting overwhelmed. Hilar Suriguan lets out a manic cackle. John Giza's secret arts will be ours today. The instant Hyung-woo hears that name, his entire body goes rigid. With a single, razor-sharp flick of his sword, he kicks a spray of pebbles into the air, then unleashes a second strike that shatters them into 1,000 pieces. A moment later, the fragments erupt outwards in a devastating storm of shrapnel, tearing through the Green Forest faction's ranks. Tell me where Kion Gaiza is. A stunned, deathly silence crashes over the battlefield. Even Jae Ko-eun is visibly rattled. Where did this guy even come from? I didn't sense his presence at all. The escort chief is the first to speak. Thank you for your assistance, young warrior. But, John Giza, he passed away 10 years ago. Hearing this, Hyung-woo is struck by a hollow sense of loss. He never even got to avenge his fallen brothers, and the man responsible was already in his grave. At that thought, a colorless, void-like energy begins to bleed out from his body. It instantly suffocates the atmosphere, and any martial artist who breathes it in feels their strength being siphoned away. Jae Ko-eun's eyes fly open as he feels his own pulse weakening. Could that be the aura of oblivion? If this continues, the entire alliance will succumb to internal deviation, and we have to eliminate him right now. Just as Jae Ko-eun prepares to make his move, Jo Seo-lam suddenly steps forward. Hey, are you alright? The moment Hyung-woo sees her, something clicks in his mind, the memory of following this girl who had shown him kindness. Kindness. Wasn't it the kindness of his brothers that had allowed him to survive this long? If John Giza is dead and revenge is off the table, then isn't it time to fulfill their final wish? As Hyung-woo retracts the aura of oblivion, the suffocating weakness immediately vanishes from the martial artists. Jae Ko-eun narrows his eyes. Even the most elite masters struggle to cultivate an aura of that magnitude. Who in the world is this person? Jo Seo-lam speaks up again, her voice gentle. Are you looking for someone? Before Hyung-woo can respond, she turns to the escort chief. He saved us. Would it be alright if he traveled with us until he finds the person he's searching for? The escort chief hesitates, his eyes flicking over the surrounding carnage. It was difficult to refuse the man who had just saved them, but that aura had nearly brought the alliance to its knees just moments ago. Would the alliance leader truly approve this? They were unaware that Jae Ko-eun was already calculating the risk. This man annihilated the warriors of the Green Forest and Surigwan in a single move. Dangerous, incredibly so. However, with their numbers already depleted, allowing a monster like this to walk away might be even worse than keeping him close. Finally, the Annihilator gives a curt nod of approval. On the spot, the escort chief immediately extends an offer. Young man, would you be interested in lending your strength to our Hainan escort agency? Seeing Hyung-woo lost in thought, Kyo-eun scoffs. The Hainan escort agency isn't some place that just takes in any wanderer off the street. You're not actually thinking of refusing, are you? Hyung-woo blinks in confusion. Honestly, I'd give you an answer, but I don't even know what an escort agency is. Kyo Seo-lam and the others are frozen in stunned silence. Let me explain, she says, quickly recovering. An escort agency is a business that transports commissioned goods and protects clients in exchange for payment. A short-haired man behind them mutters, "What is this? Where did this country bumpkin crawl out from?" Meanwhile, Pyong Chol-young's eyes have never left Hyung-woo's sword. The chilling, razor-sharp killing intent radiating from the blade proved it was no ordinary weapon. How could a masterpiece like that be hanging from the hip of a total nobody? The short-haired man frowns, noticing his intense stare. That sword deserves a worthy master. Pyong Chol-young silently makes a cold decision. There are too many eyes here. Once the alliance leader and the captains enter Hyen Mountain, we'll make our move. After traveling for a while longer, the group finally arrives at Hyen Mountain. Yet, even after an exhaustive search, the rumored cave entrance is nowhere to be found. The strategist suggests simply blowing the mountainside open. The Annihilator hesitates. What if we damage the secrets of the heavenly artisan? Hyung-woo observes them in silence. The passage he used to escape had already collapsed. They needed to find the original entrance. Then, a faint but familiar presence drifts across his senses, the aura of the heavenly artisan. That's it, over there. He leaps into the air and lands on a sheer cliff face. It's here. The Annihilator stares up at him in disbelief. You recognize this place? I used to live here. Pyong Chol-young lets out a scornful laugh. So he's just some mountain savage. No wonder he doesn't even have a scabbard. The Annihilator quickly barks out an order. I'll enter with the strategist and the captains. The masters of the Azure Dragon, Ascending Dragon, and Black Tortoise Halls are locking down the perimeter. Then, the man places a hand on Shin Hyun-woo's shoulder. We'll take it from here. You stay out of it. Shin Hyun-woo saw no reason to argue. Gung Gi-ja is dead. Whatever goes down in this cave has nothing to do with him anymore. Just then, Xiao Shui-lam dashes over, her face a mask of pure curiosity. You seriously used to live here? Shin Hyun-woo gives a small nod, about to speak, but Byung Chul-yong and his short-haired buddy step up, cutting her off. The short-haired man scoffs. And how do we know this guy isn't a spy for the Nokrim faction? What are you talking about? You saw him save us from them. Or maybe, That whole rescue was just for show. If you're really so innocent, then hand over that sword for safekeeping. Sounds fair, right? As he spoke, his eyes were glued to the blade, sizing it up. The closer he stared, the more obvious it became. On the surface, it looked like any other busted old sword, but the lethal energy radiating from it, that was the real deal. Shin Hyun-woo slowly unsheathed his weapon. This blade was a promise to a dead friend. Until the day I die, it will never leave my side. Realizing their words were useless, the two men shifted into fighting stances, but Shin Hyun-woo was one step ahead. One of them slides behind him, cutting off any escape. The other closes in from the front, a classic pincer attack. Just as all hell was about to break loose, Da Kuyun's voice boomed from the cave entrance. Didn't I order you to secure the outer perimeter? What do you think you're doing? Byung Chul-yong and his partner instantly sheathed their weapons. Alliance leader, did you find the secret treasure? Da Kuyun didn't answer. Instead, he simply gave the order to pull out. Consider yourself lucky. This isn't over. As they walked away, Xiao Sui-lam rushed to his side. Are you okay? After seeing he was unharmed, a wave of relief washed over her. Oh, thank goodness. I was so worried about you. You know, it's kind of crazy we don't even know each other's names. I'm Xiao Shui-lam. And you are? Shin Hyun-woo. That's a nice name. Come on, it's time to head back. And just like that, the Muram Alliance's hunt for Gunggija's fabled treasure came to a sudden, quiet end. But in the days that followed, the whispers started. A rumor ignited across the lands, claiming the Muram Alliance had seized Gunggija's secret treasure. Their total domination of the martial world was now just a matter of time. As the rumors spiraled out of control, Da Kuyun's mood grew darker by the day. I can scream from the rooftops that there is no treasure, but no one will believe me. The other elders could only sigh in frustration. They say the rumor has already spread from Mount Mang and set the entire Hubei region on fire. What they didn't know was the reality inside that cave on Mount Hyen. There was only a single wooden box, apparently left by Gungija, containing nothing but a letter. But what did the letter say? The blood demon's child is a plague upon this world, hell-bent on drowning it in chaos. To stop him, I have trained 100 peerless warriors. Use them wisely, and make sure the blood demon's child is stopped at all costs. To command these 100 masters, you must use the yin-yang gu hidden within this wooden box. Blood demon, I will never let you get your way. After reading the final line, Da Kuyun wrenched the box open. Inside was a single orb holding a parasite. Not only was there no sign of this so-called yin-yang gu, but there was zero trace of any 100 masters. How much of this letter can we possibly believe? The strategist, however, was focused on a completely different threat. It's possible another power is manipulating this whole situation from the shadows. Da Kuyun nodded grimly. Back at Mount Hyen, I got the feeling the Nokrim faction wasn't after Gunggija's weapon. They were targeting the Muram Alliance. By the time we arrived, there were no survivors, and even more disturbing, most of the bodies were gone. And now these rumors are snowballing out of control. Someone is deliberately trying to paint a giant target on our backs for the entire martial world to see. The elders were stunned into silence. Who could be the puppet master behind all this? The strategist voiced a grim suspicion. We need to interrogate the head of the Xiao family. He's the one who brought us the treasure map. Even if his hands are clean, who's to say the rot doesn't go deeper within his family? Da Kuyun was lost in thought. It seems we'll have to send the right person to pay the Xiao family a visit. Even if they aren't the masterminds, they could very well be one of its claws. Meanwhile, Shin Hyun-woo and Xiao Shui-lam's group had finally made it back to the Xiao estate. Noticing the cracked scabbard at his hip, Xiao Shui-lam looked embarrassed. Looks like even the finest scabbard can't contain a blade that sharp. The second the words left her mouth, the scabbard shattered into pieces. Startled, Xiao Shui-lam apologized immediately. I'm so sorry. I never should have insisted on making you a new one. But the moment he heard those words, I'm so sorry, Shin Hyun-woo was violently thrown back into the past, to the memory of Aokoji dying right in front of him. He had said the exact same thing, but he was the one bleeding out. Apologize? For what? Just drop it. I'm done hearing that word from you. Jesse Un is just stunned by his reaction. Right on cue, the escort chief's voice cuts through the tension. Hee-han Yu, get over here. And as he watches Hee-han Yu's back disappear, Jesse Un is left standing there, totally lost. Wait, what did I even do wrong? A little later, the chief leads Sohan Younggu to the Hainan escort agency, and our boy is already silently casing the joint, absorbing every detail. So it turns out these so-called porters are basically just the muscle laborers who haul heavy cargo all day long. The escort chief bellows out, Jong Tae-hyun, I brought you a new porter. You're in charge of his training. You got it. Jong Cha-eun fires back a quick reply. The chief calls back over his shoulder. He's a little rough around the edges, but he probably won't be a major headache. The second the chief is out of sight, A nasty, scheming smirk spreads across Jung Cha-eun's face. I don't care who brought you in. Around here, every single rookie gets a proper welcome. And with his very first sentence, Seo Han Yong-gu managed to instantly ignite Jung Cha-eun's fury. You look tough, but your limbs are short. What a pathetic build. Jung Cha-eun absolutely roars. Are you trying to die on your first damn day? Seo Han Yong-gu immediately clocks the hostility, his hand instinctively dropping to the hilt of his sword. Should I just end this clown right now? Then Song Jae-hoon spots it. A porter. With a sword? The absolute nerve of this guy. Hand it over. Now. Seo Han Yong-gu shuts him down flat, a chilling light flashing in his eyes. A bead of sweat trickles down Jong-hyun's temple. All right, that's enough for today. The other guys watching can't help but snicker. Jong-hyun, the guy who struts around like a tyrant every single day, just completely folded. Facing off against the new guy, Jong-hyun is seething, but he's utterly powerless to do anything about it. New guy, follow me. The sleeping quarters are this way. His tone might have softened, but the seeds of revenge were already taking root. Oh, just you wait. I will make you regret this humiliation. And sure enough, as midnight descends, Jong-hyun carefully slips out of his bunk. He starts creeping through the room, hunting for Seo Han Yong-gu. Suddenly, he slams right into something solid as a rock. What the hell? Since when was there a pillar right here? He glances up and realizes. That's no pillar. It's Seo Han Yong-gu. Jong-hyun stumbles backward out of pure instinct. Why the hell are you still awake? But Sohan Yong-gu is perfectly still, his eyes shut, unmoving. Jong-hyun frowns. No way. Is this dude seriously sleeping on his feet? As he cautiously reaches a hand out for the sword at Seo Han Yong-gu's hip, Seo Han Yong-gu's eyes snap wide open. In that instant, Jong-hyun is frozen solid. It all happened in less than a heartbeat, but the sheer terror that washed over him was overwhelming. For one terrifying moment, he felt the cold breath of death itself on his neck. In reality, it was all in his head. Even so, he still went scrambling back to his bed in a panic. What he actually felt was just the immense pressure from Seo Han Yong-gu's protective aura. Our guy doesn't always sleep standing up. During those endless years trapped in the cave, he had to remain on high alert, whether he was resting, eating, or sleeping. Over time, he developed the insane habit of sleeping upright while circulating his internal energy. The next morning, of course, Seo Han Yong-gu was the first to rise. He calmly walks over to Jong-hyun. Hey, about last night. Before he can even finish his sentence, Jong-hyun freaks out and bolts from the room. The rest of the porters start waking up one by one. A mountain of work awaits them, but none of them could have predicted what was coming. Because in the next moment, with just a few casual movements, Seo Han Yong-gu has the massive piles of cargo loaded neatly onto the wooden cart. This new guy is not normal. Bro is built different. At this rate, he's gonna take all our jobs. As they're all whispering, a figure suddenly materializes in front of them. It was Gyo Seol-im. My lady, what brings you all the way out here? How could I possibly stay away? After hearing what he said, how could anyone not be bothered by that? He told me to never say I'm sorry again. What did he even mean? She felt so anxious that she couldn't sleep a wink. That one line was all it took for her to come down here in person. Just as she's lost in thought, Hee-han Yu suddenly walks into her line of sight. Startled, Gyo Seol-im's face flushes as she blurts out his name. Hee-han Yu-appa. Realizing what she just let slip, she quickly pivots the conversation. Are you doing all right? No one's bullying you or anything, are they? And what sort of things do you like or not like? The second the words leave her mouth, she's already cringing. What is wrong with me today? Hee-han Yu, completely unfazed, just answers, I like peace and quiet. I don't like seeing that peace get shattered, and I don't want to hear my friends apologize to me. Gyo Seol-im's entire face instantly lights up. Oh my god, he thinks of me as a friend. I promise, I will never say those words again. Just then, the sound of approaching hooves snags their attention. Well, what a coincidence. It's been a while, Lady Gyo. You've grown even more beautiful. It was Pyong Ji-young, the vice leader of the Ascending Dragon Hall. Vice leader, you must be incredibly busy with alliance matters. What brings you here? I've come on orders from the Muram Alliance. The alliance leader himself has decided to lend Hainan his full support. At the Namjiao Escort Agency, in the middle of a conversation, Bin Chiet-dung clocks a familiar silhouette. Well, what a small world. A mere porter carrying a sword. How ridiculous. If you can't master something, it's better to not even touch it. Kyo Tue Lam fights to keep her expression neutral. Thonglong Hall represents the Martial Arts Alliance, and starting something now would only bring a world of trouble. Brother Huang Vu, you should go handle your other tasks first. The moment those words leave her lips, Bin Chiet-dung's face darkens. She had called him brother. Standing off to the side, his sister, Bin, my lamb, finally sees the full picture. A single order from the alliance leader, and her brother had come sprinting all the way over here. Ah, so this was all for Lady Qiu. Right then, a voice cuts in from the side. You must be Huang Vu? Ah, and the young lady is here as well. I'm Hung Bao, an escort, on the chief's orders. I'm here to guide the new porter who'll be joining the transport mission. A worried look crosses Q2 at Lam's face. He just started working, and he's already being sent on a mission? Bin Chiat Dung, however, grins smugly. Perfect. Once that brat is gone, this will be the ideal chance to get closer to Tu Yet Lam. What are you dawdling for, you porter? The escort agency's warriors are waiting for you. Is he serious? Bin My Lam lets out a soft sigh. Even after becoming a vice master, her brother was still so immature. And yet, Huang Vu showed zero reaction to the provocation. Could it be that sword was just for show? Huang Vu chooses to leave with Hung Bao, but Hung Bao can't help but remember the chief's warning. Keep an eye on Huang Vu, and make sure he doesn't stir up trouble on the road. Hung Bao hadn't understood it back then, but after meeting him in person, he was starting to get a feeling. Living alone on a mountain could explain the strange behavior. But where does an ordinary porter get the guts to carry a live blade? After mulling it over, he voices his suspicion. Brother Huang Vu, do you practice swordsmanship? But the moment Hung Bao heard it was the three-talent sword style, he came to his own conclusion. So, he was just some outsider who'd started training because he dreamed of becoming an escort. The three-talent sword style might be fundamental, but in a real battle, there are far more practical techniques. As he spoke, he drew his sword. Let's see what that three-talent style of yours can do. Huang Vu immediately became guarded. Are you saying you're going to kill me? Hung Bao quickly waved his hands. I just meant a friendly spar to gauge each other's strength. Huang Vu stopped and then said, that's not necessary, because I'm stronger. Hung Bao froze for a moment, then burst out laughing. I've been training my whole life. How could someone who just picked up a sword possibly compare to me? Still, confidence is a good thing. I'll teach you how to get stronger. His words weren't even finished when Huang Vu suddenly stretched out his palm and began tracing movements in the air. Hung Bao stared in confusion. What are you doing? This is the first time I'm holding back, so I need to make some calculations. Hung Bao went silent. So that's what the chief had meant. In that case, I'll show you what real power looks like. Watching Hung Bao charge in, Huang Vu saw right through his next move. If I want to hold back, I just need to strike right in front of him. With that thought, he quickly drew his sword and slashed down hard at his own feet. The slash didn't injure Hung Bao in the slightest, but the resulting shockwave sent him flying backward. Still dazed, Hung Bao asked, what was that technique just now? It's just one part of the three-talent sword style, a move called Heavenly Thunder. Hung Bao frowned. He said it was the three-talent style, but the feeling it gave off was completely different. The sword's aura was truly like lightning crashing down from the heavens. Could this person actually be a master of that caliber? Could it be the head escort knew from the very beginning? Huang Vu spoke again. Didn't I already tell you I'm the strongest one here? Hung Bao felt both helpless and amused by the boy's innocence, which was a complete contrast to his immense power. Huang Vu's naivety was almost childlike. Before reporting back to the head escort, it seemed the more urgent matter was to teach this young man how to properly use his martial arts in the mortal world. With that in mind, he held out his hand. I've decided. What I need to teach you isn't martial arts. Huang Vu had no reaction. Immediately, Hung Bao taught him his first lesson right on the spot. At times like this, helping your opponent up is basic human decency. And just like that, Huang Vu moved into the home of escort Hung Bao. He began to relearn the worldly principles he had long forgotten. All the while, a pair of eyes was silently observing everything from the shadows. She remembered the Alliance leader's orders. Her mission was to monitor every move at the Su family estate. If the attack from the Hyen mountain bandits had anything to do with them, she had to find the evidence. But after Bin My Lam's extended surveillance, the place seemed to have nothing suspicious about it. Instead, that impulsive young man was the one who stood out too much. The day of the escort mission soon arrived. After a passionate speech from the head escort, the team led by head escort Ma departed in an orderly formation. The scene shifts to the bandits' den, where a cold voice echoes from behind a crimson curtain. Annihilated. All 30 members of my heaven-slaying squad, wiped from existence. This failure is mine, and I couldn't even identify the one responsible. The words barely escape his lips when a colossal hand erupts from behind the curtain. With just a flick of its fingers, the grotesque corpses are levitated into the air. They were all taken down by the same person, just as Qin Yutja had predicted. So, he cooked up 100 of those monsters, but let's be real. How long can trash like that stand against? Me? I, the Blood Demon, am actually kinda hyped to find out. And with that, the Blood Demon drops a new order. Launch an immediate investigation and hunt down every single person connected to that battle. We cut to the study of the Su family estate. The ascending dragon hall of the Martial Arts Alliance has arrived to meet the clan leader. Su Yishuan hurries to welcome them. You must be Blade Dragon, one of the Twin dragons of the ascending dragon hall? You flatter me, clan leader. I am Ping Ze, Yong. Then the one beside you must be Sword Dragon? It's a true honor, clan leader. I am Nangong Jian. As soon as Nangong Jian finishes, another voice pipes up. I'm Blade Dragon's little sister, Ping Meilin. Su Yishuan flashes a sly smile. The Ping family is a top-tier martial arts clan, back in Hebei. With her grace and beauty? Yeah, setting her up with his son wouldn't be a bad idea at all. Lost in thought, he raises his teacup. I hope that during your stay, you'll grace my sons with a few pointers. After leaving the clan leader's study, Ping Meilin lets out a sigh, catching the sight of her brother's beet-red face. They were here on a surveillance mission, but her brother's head was completely in the clouds, simping over the young lady of the house. The crazy part? After days of watching, she noticed the lady wasn't even looking at her brother. Her eyes were glued to some random carriage driver. Ping Zheyong isn't worried though, I heard. That dude left on an escort job that's gonna take months. With that much time, I'm sure I can capture Lady Shuolin's heart. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo's focus is 100% on the food in front of him. This is insane. Honestly, for him, devouring a gourmet meal is the most hype moment on earth. Hyun Bao, who witnessed the whole spectacle, just scowls. I've never seen anyone eat like they're performing some sacred ritual. Oh, by the way, the destination for this little trip is West Shu, home of the legendary Tang clan, the same power that unified the Tang name and shot them up to the top ranks of the martial arts world. Their current employer is none other than the West Shu Tang clan themselves. For this high-stakes escort mission, the Tang clan didn't just send their own men, they dispatched a squad of elite masters. They even assigned a clan elder to shadow the convoy for the entire trip. This cargo is obviously a huge deal. Just then, a butterfly flutters past the Tang elder. With a single, casual wave of his hand, the insect disintegrates into ash. His gaze instantly sharpens, zeroing in on a nearby table. Among the drivers, someone is radiating a seriously unusual aura. Who is it? Just as he's about to lock onto Hyunwoo, Chief Ma suddenly gallops over. Could it be that aura was coming from Chief Ma? Listen up. Guards and drivers, we are the Hainan Escort Agency. Normally, this journey to West Shu takes 4 months. We're doing it in 1.5. With that, he barks the order to move out. Hyun Bao warns Hyunwoo not to fall behind and to stick to Chief Ma like glue. The absolute brutality of this escort mission wasn't just Chief Ma's unforgiving personality. It was the fact that it wasn't just the guards, even the carriage drivers had to sprint at the speed of a horse. What truly blew Hyun Bao's mind was that Hyunwoo didn't just keep up with the blistering pace. The kid didn't even look like he was breaking a sweat. In only 2 days, the Hainan Escort Agency made it to Mount Bayan, a journey that should have taken 4 days. But right then, a spear plummets from the sky. The next second, a savage horde of bandits erupts from the undergrowth. You've stumbled into our turf. Leave the cargo and scram, and maybe we'll let you live. Hyun Bao signals for Hyunwoo not to panic. This kind of thing is routine. Once you pay the toll, they scram. But when offered 2 heavy strings of coins, the bandit chieftain smacks them to the ground with a single slash. Who cares about this chump change? We want the cargo. And with that, he raises his blade and charges. All hell breaks loose. Tang Hao Quan, the elder of the Tang clan, had been watching, sensing something was way off. You're no ordinary mountain bandits. Who's pulling your strings? The leader just laughs. We're the heroes of the green forest, dying by our hands is an honor for you, old man. Tang Hao Quan just scoffs. A throwing dagger zips from his fingertips. THWIP. A dart buries itself in a tree, and in the exact same instant, a bloody hole punches straight through the bandit leader's chest. You seriously thought you could get your hands on the Tang clan's cargo? As if you're even worthy of touching it. A hail of darts cuts through the air, and in a flash, every last outlaw is cut down right where they stand. But just as the dust settles, a new group emerges from the forest. Welp, guess relying on a bunch of mountain scrubs was a bad call. Even a Tang clan elder is in the fight. We can't hold back anymore. Seeing the new wave of enemies advance, Tang Hao Quan barks his command. Get ready to fight. Even if the Hainan Escort Agency is wiped from existence, this shipment must make it to the Tang clan estate. You are the elite I handpicked myself. You will protect this cargo with your very lives. The two sides slam into each other in a brutal melee. But this time, it's different. The Hainan Escort Agency's front line starts to crumble. Even their strongest warrior takes a devastating hit. As an enemy rushes in to deliver the final blow, a streak of light arcs across the field, roaring like a thunderclap. The next thing you know, the attacker is nothing but a pile of smoldering ash. That insane blast grabs the attention of every enemy nearby. What was that explosion? No way. Was that lightning from a clear sky? But Xingbao, knowing exactly what just went down, snaps his head toward Shen Xingyu. Go save the others. Why? Did I only act because you were in trouble? What? Are they not people? Seriously? Shen Xingyu lets out a soft sigh. I don't really get you, but since you're asking, fine. I'll help again. The battlefield is pure chaos. Tang Haoquan, your pathetic little hidden weapons are useless against us. Hand over the goods and get lost, and maybe we'll let you live. A chill runs down Tang Haoquan's spine. But it's not the threat that startles him, it's the shadow that just flickered past the edge of his vision. The moment Shen Xingyu stops moving, every enemy on the battlefield dissolves into dust. Word of this total annihilation travels fast, reaching a certain woman. Didn't you claim a single Z-Tang unit was more than enough to crush the Hainan escort agency, and that old fossil Tang Haoquan? The speaker is the master of the Z-Tang Hall of the Yu clan. Her strategist, Yu Minqi, hastily apologizes. It seems our assessment of Xingbao was flawed. There is a hidden master among them. As for their identity, I will personally. No need. Yu Minqi cuts him off. I'll handle this myself. I want to see who this so-called hidden master really is. With Yu Minqi heading out to personally investigate the destruction of her unit, the scene cuts to the Yu clan estate. While not one of the 5 great clans, the Yu clan's power could rival any noble house. They control a third of the world's trade, wielding immense influence through their staggering wealth, and intel on the Sichuan Tang clan and Xingbao had just quietly landed in their hands. Have we confirmed what they're transporting? The steward nods. The Sichuan Tang clan has partnered with the Pili Manor to produce thunderclap bombs. 5 full carts are being moved to their headquarters via the Hainan escort agency. This news sends a shockwave through the Yu clan. The patriarch of the Yu clan is floored. So, the descendants of the Pili sect actually managed to recreate the thunderclap bombs? 5 whole carts of them? According to the historical records, that's enough firepower to level several cities. As he spoke, he casually swatted a passing bird from the sky. We must acquire both the thunderclap bombs and the means to produce them. The steward hesitates. However, upon hearing this news, the young miss has already departed with members of the Z-Tang. She's likely already reached the Pingzhang mountain area. Elsewhere, though the Hainan escort agency survived thanks to Shen Xingyu's overwhelming display of power, they had suffered catastrophic losses. Nearly all of their escorts had fallen. At this rate, continuing the mission was impossible. Once we cross Pingzhang mountain, we should look for another escort agency. Tang Haoquan immediately shoots down the idea. This escort mission must be completed by us. Tang Shiji scowls. You still intend to entrust such a valuable cargo to an agency in this state? Any local agency would do. Besides, uncle, don't you still have your heavenly thunder? Tang Haoquan lets out a weary sigh. It seemed the kid had completely misunderstood what happened. To be fair, even he could barely grasp the reality of it. From that boy's perspective, he probably saw nothing at all. His gaze shifts slightly to the side. If these old Tang clan eyes aren't deceiving me, the heavenly thunder that annihilated those fiends came from that sword-wielding cart driver. While Tang Shiji is still reeling from the implications, Tang Haoquan has already stepped before Shen Xingyu. Young hero, may I ask which martial school you hail from? Shen Xingyu remains silent. The mad demon never taught me any martial arts. He just threw us into that hell. Everything I am, I forged myself through countless life or death battles. For years, I've been the sole master of life and death. He wasn't capping, not one bit. Tang Haoquan's face twisted into a scowl. What? You think that kind of power just drops out of the sky? I'm your senior in the martial world and an elder of the Tang clan. You better watch your tone. Sensing things were about to go sideways, Xingbao jumped in. Senior, my friend, he's been isolated up on the mountain for way too long. I'll make sure he learns some manners. Please, just let it slide this once. Tang Haoquan fell silent, weighing his options. Was this kid just some arrogant prodigy coasting on raw talent? But they needed that kind of firepower for the journey ahead, and it was clear the porter answered to Xingbao. Finally, he announced his decision for all to hear. From this moment on, you will take over Chief Ma's position, and you'll be in charge of this escort mission. That way, our guy who can wield the heavenly thunder stays and keeps us safe. Chief Ma gave a firm nod. Xingbao, it's all on you now. I have to race back to the Hainan escort agency and rally reinforcements. Lead them. After a moment of heavy consideration, Xingbao accepted the role. But Tang Jaichi couldn't shake his unease. That blue-robed porter, a master of the heavenly thunder, was now taking orders from Xingbao. And so, the Hainan escort agency pressed onward. Meanwhile, Chief Ma was pushing his horse to its absolute limit, racing to report the ambush. Because no matter how OP Shang Yu, that porter, was, if the enemy launched another wave, everyone was as good as dead. A rustle in the trees sent a jolt of alarm through him. Before he could even process it, an iron sickle slammed into his skull. The attacker, one of the Ghostface hands, the Blood Demon's personal hit squad. The rat has been eliminated. Next target, the Xiao family villa. At that very moment, inside his study, Zhao Yixuan was poring over documents. Master, you look exhausted. Perhaps we should call it a day, the butler suggested. But Zhao Yixuan shook his head. This work is no different from cultivation. To delay is to lose the will to press on. We continue. But as he set his brush down, a single, black drop of ink splattered onto the pristine paper. His gaze hardened instantly. A wave of killing intent exploded from him, and then the unmistakable sound of clashing steel echoed across the estate. The second he realized the villa was under attack, the chief escort's hand flew to his sword. He lunged for the door, but Zhao Yixuan blocked his path. The presence I'm sensing, this is no ordinary threat. You can't handle this. There's somewhere else you need to be. Right now. Moments later, the chief escort stormed into Zhao Xuelan's room with a squad of guards. Xuelan, pack your things. We're leaving now. Shortly after, the chief escort slipped away from the estate with a small, hand-picked retinue. Zhao Yixuan calmly raised his spear. With a single, effortless sweep, the entire courtyard disintegrated into a storm of debris. The thunderous blast drew the eyes of every single ghost-face hand. It's him, the first spear of Hebei, Zhao Yixuan. Bring me his head. Hearing the sounds of battle, Zhao Xuelan froze. Will my father be okay? The chief escort pushed her onward. Don't worry, the master is the first spear of Hebei. In this entire province, he has no equal. He then turned to another group. I deeply regret what's happened. Can the Shenglong Hall travel with us? But Ping Meilin stepped forward, cutting him off. We have to report back to the Martial Alliance. Ping Zheyong stared at her, incredulous. What are you even saying, sis? Didn't you see the level they're operating at? We have to report this assault to the Martial Alliance, now. With the twin dragons swayed by Ping Meilin, the chief escort turned his last hope to one other person. The one person who just might be able to help, the porter who single-handedly crushed the bandits back on Haiyang Mountain, Xiang Yu. After the two groups split off, the chief escort proposed they regroup with the main escort caravan. But Zhao Xuelan's heart was still heavy with worry for her father. Still, she knew that finding Xiang Yu might be their only shot. Back at the villa, a bloodied and battered Zhao Yixuan demanded, Who are you people? Why are you attacking the Zhao family villa? A chilling laugh echoed from behind the wall of ghost-face hands. You think I'd grant you the mercy of dying with an answer? The words had barely left his lips when a hand punched straight through Zhao Yixuan's skull, like it was nothing. The next day, a man sat casually amidst the smoking ruins. So this is the Zhao family villa. To think it was still standing just yesterday. A job well done. But where is my cleanup crew? The commander of the ghost-face hands, Sha Ying, replied. They're hunting down the few who escaped, the ones who slipped away in the chaos. Still, I don't see the point. Why waste our resources crushing such a minor villa? The man let out a sinister chuckle. Do you have any idea who Qiang Yijia is to me? A sworn enemy. Someone I can't exist in the same world with. And you bet your entire life on opposing him? He just nodded. The blood demon and Qiang Yijia. Our fates were hopelessly intertwined, a tangled mess that could never be undone. And now, I'm the only one left. Back then, he chose this very place, the Zhao family villa, to sabotage my plan to raise 100 elite warriors. So, what better place to start tearing down everything he built than right here, from here, elsewhere? As the chief spurred his horse onward, he felt a sudden dread creeping up his spine. Danger was closing in. Damn it, they're on us. Just a little further. If we can reach the caravan, we'll be safe. Exhausted, Zhao Ren made his choice. I'll create a diversion. Just make sure Shui Lam gets there safely, please. The words had barely escaped him when a curved blade erupted from his chest. There was no time to mourn. The next killing blow was already hurtling toward Zhao Shui Lam. In that heart-stopping instant, the chief dove in front of her, taking the fatal strike himself. In a flash, everything clicked for Zhao Shui Lam. Tears streamed down her cheeks. They were chasing him all this way. Could her father truly be gone, too? The leader of the ghost-face hands leveled his sword at her. Impressive, making it this far. But this is where it ends. Just as the blade descended, a bolt of lightning crashed from the sky, shattering the steel into fragments. And there, standing before her, was Xiang Yu. Moments before, while escorting a shipment, he'd heard her desperate cries. He recognized that voice immediately. It was Zhao Shui Lam. That's why he'd arrived in the absolute nick of time. The ghost-face hands swarmed toward him. Unfazed, Xiang Yu gently placed a hand on Zhao Shui Lam's head. Instantly, she felt the fear and exhaustion drain from her body. Wipe your tears, he said. This will be over in a moment. With that, he launched into the air. His blade flashed only once, and in the next second, all of the ghost-face hands dissolved into dust on the wind. Jae-sung was frozen, witnessing it all. Xiang Yu, how did you even do that? If she had possessed that kind of power, could she have protected her family? After burying her brother and the chief, Jae-sung could only stare into the empty distance. With both her father and brother gone, how could she possibly go on alone? Hearing this, Xiang was yanked back into his own past. He, too, had once crawled out of his own personal hell, and the first hand that reached out to him belonged to Jae-sung. After a long silence, he spoke softly. Live. Carry with you the gratitude for those who are gone, and do what you truly want to do. When he heard she wanted to join the escort group, he didn't hesitate, grabbing her wrist. Then we're going right now. And with that, he swept her into his arms and leaped into the sky. It wasn't some grand gesture. He simply wanted to get her away from that place of tragedy as quickly as he could. But to Jae-sung, that single action meant more than any words of comfort ever could. After a while, she voiced the question burning in her mind. How did you become so powerful? We're basically the same age. He replied flatly. Fight monsters long enough. Stake your life enough times. And this is what happens. Can you tell me more about those experiences? He went silent for a moment. If I started telling you about that hell, I'd have to start with my 99 dead friends. And Kyonga-jia. And Kyonga-jia is already dead. Damn it. I never even got my shot at revenge. We'll save the rest for another time. After flying for what seemed like an eternity, the two of them finally rejoined the main caravan. But when the escorts heard that the Xiao estate and the Hainan escort agency had both been wiped out, a grim shadow fell over them. Even Hyungbo was unnerved by the mission. The earlier ambush had already shattered their morale. Now, this news sent it plummeting to rock bottom. Something's gotta change. We still have to finish this job and collect our reward. With that cash, we might not get rich, but it's enough for everyone to get a fresh start. We could even rebuild the Hainan escort agency. No matter what, we still have Lady Xiao. Hearing that, Jae-sung's posture straightened. He was right. This wasn't the time to be drowning in sorrow. There were still people who were counting on her. Once this was all settled, she would become stronger, just like Xiang, and she would get revenge for her father, her brother, and everyone from the Xiao estate. As the caravan pressed on, Jae-sung couldn't stop thinking about what Xiang had said, about fighting monsters. Unable to resist, she asked again, Xiang, can you tell me more about that? But instead of answering, Xiang asked a quiet question of his own. Is Kyonga-jia really dead? That's what everyone says, she replied. They believe he passed away 10 years ago. Hyungbo chimed in. I don't buy it for a second. There are way too many holes in the story of his death. Rumors always have a source, but this one just materialized. Yet the entire martial world believes it like they witnessed it firsthand. It's almost as if someone deliberately orchestrated the news to ensure no one would have any doubts. Jae-sung frowned. Who would do that? And why? Hyungbo lowered his voice. It's just a theory, but the most plausible answer is Kyonga-jia himself. Maybe he needed to disappear. A spark of realization seemed to flicker in Xiang eyes, but just then, Jiang Wuqiang's voice cut in. The entire caravan grinds to a halt. Something's wrong. A few men come rushing toward our wagon. Our carriage is stuck deep in the mud. We're proceeding on foot, but would you be willing to let Our Lady travel with you? Their tone was surprisingly deferential. Jiang Hoguan's eyes narrowed, catching the crest on their carriage, the emblem of the Umun clan. After the recent string of ambushes, it was clear their cargo information had been compromised. And now, in the middle of nowhere, a carriage from the prestigious Umun clan just happens to break down? Just then, a silken voice drifted over. My apologies for the intrusion. I am Umun Hai. The moment she stepped into view, the entire escort crew seemed to fall under a spell. Even the veteran Jiang Hoguan found himself momentarily stunned by her otherworldly beauty, his suspicions evaporating like mist in the sun. Seizing the opportunity, Umun Hai gracefully settled onto one of the cargo wagons. I'll be in your care for the journey. Although Jiang Hoguan couldn't quite read her intentions, her very presence was disarming enough to lower his guard. He gave her the all-clear and ordered the caravan to press forward. A subtle, triumphant smile played on her lips. That old geezer folded way too easily. Still, she remained cautious, signaling her attendant to link up for a private telepathic chat. The escort team was barely 30 men strong, and from her quick assessment, Jiang Hoguan was the only true master among them. She found it laughable. Such a tiny security detail was tasked with protecting 5 wagons loaded with thunderclap bombs. Both the thunderclap bombs and the heaven-shaking thunder were forged by the legendary Thunder sect. The former was powerful enough to obliterate smaller martial arts sects. They once elevated the clan to greatness, but also brought about its ruin. For centuries, the Thunder sect was a ghost story, but now, their weapons and secret formulas were resurfacing. Umun Hai had assumed the Death Hall was annihilated by these very bombs, yet there was no evidence of their use. So who crushed the Death Hall and wiped them off the map? As her gaze swept over the group, one of the porters snagged her attention. His clothes were plain, but a sword was strapped to his hip. He didn't carry himself like a martial artist. So, why couldn't she tear her eyes away? And then it hit her. Since the moment she arrived, He hadn't spared her a single glance. Who on earth could be so utterly indifferent to her charms? Deciding to test him, she approached with a direct greeting. When Shin Hyung-yu finally turned to face her, the absolute void of interest in his eyes was a physical blow. Is this what humiliation feels like? A dangerous glint flashed in her eyes as she stared at Hyung-yu. Oh, I will make you kneel before me. As night fell, the convoy set up camp to rest. Jessie Lam walked over with a steaming bowl of soup. Hyung-yu Appa, it's time for dinner. She barely got the words out before Yuman Hai materialized beside them. As she ghosted past Hyung-yu, she whispered, "Hey kid, meet me in the woods. I'll tell you everything you want to know, if you can. Keep up." A smirk of pure confidence touched her lips, certain he'd be a disappointment if he couldn't even manage that. But before she could finish the thought, Shin Hyung-yu was standing directly in her path. Their eyes locked, and she let out an involuntary gasp. The sound sent her attendants scrambling to her side. Yumun Hai just stared, her mind reeling. Within the Yumun clan, her lightness technique was considered among the very best. How could a low-level porter possibly outspeed her? Who? What in the world are you? Shin Hyung-yu didn't answer her question. I need to know the whereabouts of Chonji Aja. Tell me now, before my soup gets cold. When she admitted she had no idea, he simply turned to leave. In response, several of her retainers lunged to attack him. But before their leader could even unsheath his sword, Shin Hyung-yu had vanished into thin air. Umun Hai was frozen in shock. How did he just do that? A strange breeze rustled past. When Jessie Lam blinked, the soup bowl was gone from her hands. Nice, the soup's still hot. She looked utterly bewildered. Hyung-yu Oppa, when did you get back? And what about that lady? Who knows? If she wants to show up, she will. Gotta admit though, that Yumun girl is pretty stunning. A blush crept up Jessie Lam's cheeks. Hyung-yu Appa, I have another question. Do you think I'm pretty? He gave her a quick look. Not as pretty as the last one, but I'm not a fan of beautiful women. Beautiful women usually bring fatal complications. Miles away, Yumun Hai came to a chilling conclusion. That man, he's the one who destroyed the death hall. Still, she needed to watch him more. Aside from the name Shin Hyung-yu, he was a complete enigma. Unbeknownst to them all, the main, Hainan escort agency caravan was rapidly closing in on their position. Jessie Lam kept replaying his words. Beautiful women bring death. What kind of life? Has Hyung-yu Appa lived? Jiang Ho Guan's voice cut through her thoughts. Miss, from this point on, stay sharp. The closer we get, the more the air feels wrong. Jiang Ho Guan felt the oppressive atmosphere even more acutely. Tomorrow, we arrive at the main estate of the Sichuan Tang clan, which means only the Black Serpent clan remains a viable threat. The Black Serpent clan had skyrocketed to power over the last decade, becoming the only force in Sichuan with the guts to actually challenge the Tang family. At that very moment, a massive commotion erupted in the distance. Jiang Ho Guan's face hardened. A leak from inside the Tang family? Song Hyung-yu felt the tension spike. He sensed roughly 100 hostiles lying in wait up ahead. A chilling tremor shot down Yunmin's spine. The kid just used his internal energy to get a perfect head count. That's insane. A second later, dozens of figures erupted from the forest. Jiang Ho Guan roared, "All units, battle stations. Hyung-yu, you stay back and guard the cargo. These black evil clan rats are ours." And the clearing exploded into chaos. While Hyungbo was tense, Seong Hyung-yu was utterly unfazed. That old man and his crew will handle this. He was right. The Black Evil clan's meteoric rise was nothing against the seasoned elder and the masters of the Sichuan Tang sect. Min felt a knot of dread tighten in her stomach. Had they completely underestimated the Tang family? 50 of their warriors were wiped out with terrifying ease. Even with another 50 fighters in hiding, victory seemed impossible. Retreat was the only logical move. But how could she issue the command without being detected? As she wavered, Seong Hyung-yu's voice cut through the noise, low and steady. If you're planning on sending a message, I won't be the one to stop you. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Was he for real? Could he actually hear their telepathic link? Their entire plan to ambush and slaughter was completely exposed. But how could anyone possibly block a mind-to-mind technique? His voice turned to ice. Retreat now, or die here. The sheer pressure in his tone froze her solid. She immediately broadcasted the order for a full withdrawal. She couldn't begin to fathom why he was letting her escape. He paid her no mind. Ever since Yunmin's ambush began, the thing that truly unsettled him was a far deadlier killing intent, lurking somewhere nearby. Meanwhile, Jiang Ho Guan was systematically dismantling the Hokchon clan's forces. He was completely oblivious to another power observing from the shadows. Everything was proceeding according to their grand design. The vanguard was annihilated. Once the escort let their guard down to celebrate and sleep, the raccoon squad would strike. With Song Hyung-yu's silent permission, Eunmin's ambush team melted away. Still, that escalating murderous aura continued to gnaw at him. As night fell, Hyung-bo approached Jo So-lam. "My lady, the wife of Eunmin plans to set up her tent next to the carriage. Should I see if you'd like to rest there as well?" She offered a gentle refusal. "No, I can't sleep soundly on my own. To be honest, I never really thought much about the Hainan escort agency. I assumed it was just a simple job hauling goods, but now I understand that the only reason this route is peaceful is because the escorts and porters risk their lives. Since I'm part of this agency, I will camp out with everyone else. And I have decided I will no longer be just Ju Jae-che's daughter. I will become the director of the Hainan escort agency." As they were speaking, Seong Hyung-yu materialized behind them without a sound. "Hyung-yu oppa, did you have something to say?" He paused. "If you want to be the director, you need to start as a porter." The silence that followed was painfully awkward. "In that case, Hyung-yu oppa, please teach me how to become a first-class porter." Soon, the entire camp had fallen into a deep slumber. From the deepest shadows, a bloodthirsty eye snapped open. "Raccoon Squad, prepare to move." The Raccoon Squad was an elite unit of assassins forged by the Hokchon clan. They were masters of ambush, assassination, and concealment, in darkness, moving like a single, lethal organism. They could eliminate countless enemies in the blink of an eye. As their presence crept closer, Seong Hyung-yu had already pinpointed every last one of them. The moment the leader gave the signal to attack, a massive hand clamped around his throat. The other members surged forward, completely unaware. One assassin targeted Gyang Ho-gwan first. "Thanks for delivering the thunderclap orbs." In the end, they belonged to the Hokchon clan. His sword swung down, only to be met by another blade. Seeing the face before him, he raged through their telepathic link. "What are you doing? Why is that damn porter still breathing?" The reply didn't come from his comrade, but from Seong Hyung-yu, the Raccoon Squad. "Is that what you call yourselves? That name no longer exists. Go meet your buddies in hell." A flash of lightning-infused energy ripped through the night. As darkness consumed the assassin, he couldn't comprehend how the Hokchon clan's grand scheme could have collapsed so absurdly. The caravan jolted awake from the violent shockwave. What in the world happened? Why are there bodies everywhere? All eyes immediately fell on Seong Hyung-yu. That kid must have handled it. So much for showing them any mercy. From that night forward, with Seong Hyung-yu present, no further threats dared to appear. They reached their destination safely. "Hyung-yu, once we get to Sachun, you're going to be busy." Confused, he listened as Hyung-bo explained. "Near the Tang family manor in Sachun, there's a place known as the Elza Estate. Didn't you say your friend's family name was El? If she was so important, shouldn't you pay her family a visit?" Memories of Elzie's final words came flooding back. "We're going to the Elza Estate, right now." After arriving safely at the Tang family manor in Sachun, Jo So-lam watched on. As promised, Jiang Ho-gwan settled the rest of the escort fee, but inside, her emotions were a raging storm. The entire Du clan, her own family, was gone, wiped from existence. Now, as the newly minted chief of the Hainan Escort Bureau, this first payment felt heavier than lead. Hyung-bo read the turmoil in her eyes. "Chief, don't you worry. Things are going to get better." Wiping away a tear, she managed to faint. "Thank you, Master Hyung. I will be strong for the family I have left." Meanwhile, Du Minhe's entourage had rolled up to the Dang family manor in Sacheon. "It's a shame we couldn't get our hands on the Thunderstrike," one of them muttered. "Chief, should we just head back home after this?" Du Minhe waved a dismissive hand. "If the Thunderstrike had truly reappeared, my family would already know. Besides, I, Du Minhe, have never failed to claim what I desire. And what I desire most right now is that man." Little did she know, she was far from the only one captivated by Qin Han-yu. The very people whose lives he had saved more than once now watched this freakishly powerful young warrior with a complex swirl of emotions. But Qin Han-yu had only a single goal burning in his mind: to fulfill Wu Qi's final wish. He vaulted onto a rooftop, taking a deep, centering breath. He sensed a bizarre surge of energy in the distance, one that felt eerily similar to Wu Qi's. As the sun began to set, the escort agency politely declined the Dang family's offer of hospitality and got rooms at an inn instead. "Where are you two headed? We'll explain when we return." "It's still up in the air," Hyung-bo replied. Walking past, Qin Han-yu gently placed a hand on Do Seo-lam's head. She froze solid. Was Hyung Appa praising her? A sudden warmth blossomed deep in her chest. After saying their farewells, the two set off for the Wu family manor. It didn't take long for Hyung-bo to feel a prickle on the back of his neck. He glanced back and saw them. Du Minhe's crew, tailing them. That noble lady clearly had no intention of leaving. "She doesn't even know where we're going," he grumbled. "She's just following us." Chin Han Yu silently adjusted his pace, taking note of Hyungbo's stamina. He slowed down, channeling a stream of chi into the older man. Hyungbo blinked, baffled. Why do my steps feel so light all of a sudden? Well, if that's the case, let's book it to the Wu Manor. Watching them suddenly explode with speed, Du Minhei frowned in confusion. Wait, was that old escort hiding his true power, too? A short while later, the duo finally arrived at the Wu family estate. Before Hyungbo could even knock, Du Minhei and her squad staggered up behind them, gasping for air. As he raised his fist to knock, Hyungbo felt a wave of unease. A manor this huge should have guards. It was completely silent. The gates groaned open, and a mountain of a man stepped out. The moment he saw him, Chin Han-yu immediately thought of Wu Qi. The resemblance was uncanny. State your business, the man boomed. We're not receiving guests, the man stated, his voice like ice. We're not here as guests, Hyungbo retorted. Do you know a person by the name of Wu Qi? The man's eyes turned glacial as a crushing aura erupted from his body. Who are you to dare ask about Wu Qi? Hyungbo was floored. It was just a name, so why the murderous intent? As the pressure began to choke him, Chin Han-yu intervened. He pushed back with an even stronger wave of energy, shielding him. This only seemed to enrage the giant, who drew his sword. You dare to challenge me? A lowly porter dares to stand against a master? Seeing the situation spiral, Hyungbo quickly tried to de-escalate. He's my friend, and he was Wu Qi's friend too. His name is Chin Han-yu. He was raised in the mountains, so he's not familiar with the ways of the world. The tension subsided, but only slightly. I am Wu Luo-kun. Wu Qi was my nephew. He disappeared 10 years ago. You've met him? Where is he? A heavy silence fell. 10 years, yet that hellish period felt like only yesterday. Speak, Wu Luo-kun demanded. Wu Qi, Chin Han-yu said, his voice low, is dead. In a flash of pure rage, Wu Luo-kun's sword came crashing down on him. Hyungbo was frozen stiff with shock. Du Minhei gasped, her own energy flaring as she prepared to jump in. Just as Du Minhei was about to move, a firm hand stopped her. I'm fine, Chin Han-yu's voice cut through the chaos. Don't interfere. Her eyes were wide with worry. Chin Han-yu. Are you really all right? She whispered. How? How is that even possible? At the same time, Wu Luo-kun was utterly stunned. The kid had blocked his blade using nothing but his protective chi, and he hadn't even counterattacked. Could he truly have been Chier's friend? A sharp voice sliced through the tension from behind. Luo-kun, you idiot. Is that any way to treat a guest? How many times must I tell you to rein in that explosive temper of yours? It was the lord of the manor, Wu Baihuan. Luo-kun immediately apologized. After Chin Han-yu explained Wu Qi's fate one more time, Wu Baihuan bowed his head, his face a mask of guilt. So it was true. Please, forgive us. Please, come inside. Meanwhile, Xiao Shuilan was replaying the last few seconds over and over in her mind. Why did Brother Han-yu do that? What was he trying to say? A sudden commotion from downstairs shattered her thoughts. What's going on down there? It's a fight. Our men were drinking on the lower floor. There was a flash of swordlight, and a man crumpled to the ground. Just as the guards moved in to check out the commotion, Jo Seolam appeared. Everyone, get back to your rooms. Now. Han Wu isn't here. Stay out of it. Once they retreated, she breathed a quiet sigh of relief. Okay, good. We're not their target. But who were these guys, brazenly murdering people in the middle of an inn? You really think you can attack the Great Heaven's Gate and just walk away alive? The Tang clan will never forgive the Jia Ka squad of the Black Death Gang for this. The leader just sneered. Are you blind? The second they saw our black robes, they scrambled away like terrified dogs. And just like that, it clicked for Jo Seolam. These were the same Black Death thugs who had ambushed their escort convoy. Our master gave you a chance to bend the knee. You chose to serve the Tang clan, so now, not a single one of you is walking out of here alive. The inn exploded with the savage sound of clashing steel. This was becoming the new normal. The Black Death Gang was expanding its territory, and fast. They were openly challenging the Tang clan, swallowing up any smaller factions in their path. Hoping to dodge the drama, Jo Seolam prepared to pull her people out. She had no idea she'd already been spotted. Suddenly, the gang's leader materialized right in front of her. Well, who knew a stunner like you was hiding out in this dump? In moments, the rest of his crew, finished with their slaughter, had her completely surrounded. Looks like the boss has taken a liking to this one. Why don't I gently persuade her to come meet him? The goon draped a heavy arm over Jo Seolam's shoulder. You have no idea what happens to people who get on the Black Death Gang's radar, do you? Big mistake. In a flash, Jo Seolam snapped into action. She seized his wrist, spun under his arm, and twisted it back with brutal force. He hit the floor, hard. The leader just smirked. I thought we found a delicate little flower. Turns out, she's got thorns. So, who are you, really? She drew herself up to her full height. the proud daughter of the Zhou clan estate, and the chief of the Hainan escort agency, Zhou Seolam. A wave of mocking laughter rippled through the Black Death gang. A kid running the Hainan escort agency? I'm almost impressed. That just makes this way more interesting. She was hopelessly outnumbered. Her mind raced, calculating the odds. Priority number 1, escape. Channeling her inner energy, she made a break for it. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Shin Hye-young-yu had been welcomed inside. If my Yugi were still alive, he'd be 20 this year. The same age as you? Hearing this, Hyungbo blinked in disbelief. He's only 20. I'm almost double his age. Then, Albek Hoen's voice cracked. How? How did my Yugi die? A heavy sorrow descended upon the entire estate. Shin Hye-young-yu spoke softly, his voice low. Yugi was my brother in arms, my best friend. We made a pact. The one who made it out alive would visit the other's family. Back in that hellscape, none of us ever knew if we'd see the next sunrise. He told me, if he didn't make it, to tell his father that his son had failed him. Those were his final words. He died saving my life. Albek Hoen's eyes glistened with a mixture of profound grief and fierce pride. To lay down his life for a friend, that is truly my son. The memory of their last goodbye lingered in the air, a moment they never knew would be their final one. After a long pause, Albek Hoen studied Shin Hye-young-yu. This boy, he must have endured the same hell as Yugi. And in that instant, he made a shocking declaration. From this day forward, you will be my son. The room went dead silent. Could this stone-faced kid even process those words? I mean, the dude literally just took a sword to the head a little while ago. But then, Shin Hye-young-yu replied with perfect calm, as you command, father. A booming, joyous laugh erupted from Albek Hoen. Just like my Yugi, the same indomitable spirit. For 10 years I've been without a son. Tonight we celebrate, prepare a feast, and just like that, a rare, festive energy ignited the entire estate. During the banquet, Hyungbo got the full story from Old Man Zagon about everything that had gone down. 10 years ago, back when Yugi vanished, the L clan was just a minor house, absolutely desperate to find their son. Albek Hoen had scoured the lands, but just as he hit rock bottom, a mysterious grandmaster appeared out of nowhere. He passed down the entirety of Kyung Jija's legendary martial arts. Albek Hoen channeled all his grief into a relentless training regimen, and the L clan's reputation exploded. But recently, the Black Death gang started aggressively consuming other sects, left and right. It dragged the L clan right into the middle of the conflict. We're constantly on high alert. My apologies for mistaking you for their thugs earlier. Hyungbo immediately connected the dots. It was the same gang of psychopaths that ambushed their escort mission. But while everyone was lost in conversation, Shin Hye-young-yu's senses picked up on something else entirely. That girl's situation is escalating faster than I thought. He knew he had to move, now. He gave a quick excuse to Albek Hoen and then just vanished from sight. Elsewhere, Zhou Seolam's internal energy was almost completely drained when the Black Death gang finally cornered her. And you call yourself a chief with skills this pathetic? Just give up already. But just as his blade was about to fall, an invisible shockwave of power erupted, blasting him backward. You damn witch! What was that power? It was only then that Zhou Seolam understood. Hyung-yu. He transferred his internal energy to me. With her guard down, the man draws his blade from behind. The captain snarls, "Careful now. Don't kill her before we've had our fun." But they had no clue. Du Seolam was already prepared for the absolute worst, bracing for her final move, the bare-handed certain kill. The borrowed power coursing through her had just vanished. Humiliation was now a certainty as the man lunged forward, growling, "Let's start with those clothes." Instead of retreating, she hurtled herself toward the sharp edge of the sword. "Father, brother, forgive me for failing to avenge you. Forgive your daughter for choosing such a weak way out." Just as the steel tip was about to pierce her throat, a figure materialized from thin air. Glad I wasn't too late. The very instant Shin Hyung-woo blocked the attack, his own devastating counterattack followed. In the blink of an eye, the attacker was simply gone. A thick cloud of gray smoke engulfed the scene. "What the hell were you doing?" Shin Hyung-woo's voice sliced through the air. A wave of regret instantly washed over Du Seolam for her reckless choice. She never expected that in what she believed were her final moments. The first face to flash across her mind would be Hyung-woo Oppa's. A heavy sigh echoed from in front of her. What a shame. That strange aura that was protecting you is gone, and your internal energy is completely depleted. We were so damn close, and then, this idiot shows up. After hearing the full story from Do Seolam, Shin Hyung-woo exhaled a sigh of relief. There won't be a next time. Before Do Seolam could even utter a word, one of the thugs had already lost his patience. "Hey, kid, you're not scared of the Black Death gang?" The moment the threat left his lips, she saw an expression she'd never witnessed on Shin Hyung-woo's face. It was pure rage. He moved like lightning, and before the gang could even react, several of them collapsed, dead on the spot. The captain scrambled away, his face etched with disbelief. How was that even possible? The very ground beneath them seemed to awaken, stone and dirt erupting upwards like a dragon breaking free from the earth. Du Lam was frozen, completely stunned.